All right, here we go, guys. As you know, Alabama lost to Ohio State in the semifinal of the inaugural uh, NCAA Division One playoff. Let me just say a few things about that game and also about Alabama. I'm a huge Alabama fan, obviously. For those of you who know me, first and foremost, congratulations to the Buckeyes. I mean, they actually came out, they played, they executed, they did what they were supposed to do. Alabama didn't show up. To me, it just seemed like most of the players were very lethargic. They like their mind wasn't in the game. Parts, maybe not the entire time, but off and on throughout the game. I mean, look at Christian Jones, the first kickoff return. He touches it, which it doesn't even matter. I mean, once it's just like an onside kick. Once it's gone 10 yards, it can be recovered by the defense. But he leaves it sitting in the end zone. I mean, what was that? And his teammate had to bail him out by coming over and downing it before Ohio State could recover it. It would have been a quick touchdown for Ohio State right there. Um, Let me say also, Blake Sims, congratulations on all the records and everything at Alabama this year and all that. But um, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Brett Favre. I mean, I love Brett Favre. I thought he's probably, in my opinion, one of the top 10 best quarterbacks in NFL history. But he's also top two or three quarterbacks in interception history. Um, he plays with a lot of enthusiasm, Sims does, and I think part of that sometimes results in bad decisions and poor throws. He had his share of those in the game, man. Uh, I mean, take away the DeAndrew White drop pass, which again, as a receiver, if it hits you in the hands, you got to catch that. I mean, that was a huge, huge play at that point in the game. But Sims overthrowing players, throwing behind players, um, floating passes, throwing interceptions to players that were. How could you not see them? I know some people would say that it was a zone blitz and defender dropped back into coverage, but I mean again the guy's was 300 pounds. How could you really in that play? Yeldon wasn't even close to being open. That also takes me, not Yeldon, excuse me, Cooper. And that brings me to the Cooper issue is that I think, Cooper being as great as he is, I think sometimes we force the ball too much to try to get to Cooper. I think we should, be a little bit more diverse. I think we should have more confidence in our other receivers, which probably would help them to, not drop passes. Um, Also, Derrick Henry, he ran 11 times. That's it. 11. Honestly, I think Derrick Henry can hold his own against anybody in the nation. Um, but he's going to have to get the carries. Yeldon came in and ran 10 times, but again, Henry was averaging 7.1 yards per carry at the time, or at the end of the game. So why don't we use him more? I mean, the man's a beast. I mean, he's huge, he's tall, he's big, but he's also fast. I think if Yeldon does skip to the NFL, honestly, I think we should, instead of a 50-50 or a 60-40 split with anybody else come next season, I think Henry should get more about 75% of the rushes, uh, coming out only when he needs to be spelled. Um, you know, and, again, real quick back to Sims, I mean, checking down. If the first pass isn't there, he looked a lot like Mariota in the sense of sticking with the first option only. And I think he should well, it's a little late now, but I mean, hopefully, in the future we have somebody that can, look off and go to the second, third, and fourth receivers. Defensively, Cyrus Jones and Eddie Jackson have been up and down. Cyrus Jones overall is, I mean, these guys are not horrible, but they're not big, and Jackson, take away the clumsy issue of falling down while in coverage. Which obviously resulted in a touchdown for Ohio State. Um, Cyrus Jones has been abused all year, or at least tried to have been. Every team that comes in there try to take advantage of the height advantage and the fact that he doesn't always cover well on fade patterns. So these two guys are giving up too many big plays. I mean, they may do well for a good amount of time of the game, but they always seem to give up big plays downfield, and we have got to fix that. We got to address that in the offseason. We got to get better corners in, and see what we can come back with next season. Um, and again, 11 times Henry rushed the ball, Yeldon 10, and it just doesn't seem like with 11 or 10 rushes that either one of those running backs can actually get a rhythm going. When you run 20 to 25 times, look at other running backs against us. Um, Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank right now on his name, but the running back for Ohio State, he had, take away that 80 yards at the end, he had like two plays of more than 20 yards, or 15, 20, 20 yards or whatever. So Alabama does give up plays, but that toward the end was ginormous in the grand scheme of things and the result of the game. I mean, it should have never happened. But if we would run Henry like that, or Yeldon, or both of them, give them more rushes. I like Lane Kiffin as an offensive coordinator. He mixes it up, but I think sometimes this season we went too much. We tried to force the ball too much in the passing game and not divert back to the fact that we have a stable of great running backs. So after this season, Cooper more than likely is going to be gone. Yeldon's gone more than likely. Sims graduating. Hopefully the Atlanta Falcons will pick up one of these players, Cooper or Yeldon. But next year, again, we need wide receivers to step up. I'm sure we'll have another great recruiting class, and I think Henry should get the ball more. And whoever ends up being our quarterback, hopefully can distribute the ball a little better. And I love Kirby Smart, but he's either going to have to change something up on defense, or maybe the team needs to go a different direction. I don't know. In either way, though, the secondary has to improve, and we got to get better pass rushing on the quarterback. So that's my take on it. Ohio State played their game. We didn't. No matter how you slice it, SEC had an off year. I don't think the SEC is weaker necessarily. I think the talent has been spread a little more across the nation, not just the SEC. But I think Alabama will be back in the top 4 or 5 teams next year. I don't see a whole lot going on in terms of that. Alabama had to fight through some injuries this year. We got a young team for the most part. Going to return a lot of those guys next year. Everybody wants to talk about how Ohio State's still young and they're coming back. But what about us? Alabama's coming back too. So we got that coming for us. And, again, Alabama's going to be in the mix. So I'm about to check out.